Hello everyone, this is Shin Godzilla 2007, and today I'm going to be doing my review on Godzilla King of the Monsters. And I'm just going to say, this is going to be a very positive review. And also, this review will contain spoilers. It's only been out for a little while. I saw it last night. So yeah, I know the official release was actually today. But I need to go ahead and do a review because I already know what I want to talk about. So yeah, if you haven't seen it yet, this is your opportunity to leave. Okay, so let's get started. So like I said, this is gonna be a very positive review. I really like this movie. So Godzilla is extremely powerful, and he's grown a lot. I mean, it's not extremely visible in the movie, but you can still kind of tell. And for the most part in this movie, the CGI is pretty good, but there are some times when it's not as good. But I know why, because they had to use a lot of CGI for this movie, and the more detailed it was, the more money it was going to be. So there were some parts where it didn't look as realistic, but still it looked realistic enough to be good. And the fights were awesome. And so I don't have any really images to talk about, but if you have seen the movie, you know the oxygen destroyer was in it. They used it in the form of a missile, and it didn't destroy. I gotta adjust a little bit. It didn't destroy Godzilla or King Ghidorah, and it almost destroyed Godzilla, but he went into that volcano place, where he was regenerating, and I think this is actually because of the original movie, but Serizawa actually sacrificed himself for Godzilla, and in the original one, he sacrificed himself to kill Godzilla, but in this one, he actually sacrificed himself to help Godzilla, and this is kind of what turned him into Burning Godzilla. The lava didn't, but when he set off the nuclear warhead, that gave him a lot of energy. But yeah, so this movie is action-packed. The fights are really good. I know I've already said that. I sort of forgot what I was going to say. Let's talk about Mothra for a minute. Again, King Ghidorah. So King Ghidorah does actually have alien origins in this movie. I know a lot of people were saying he was, and I sort of thought he was, but I was leaning more toward the theory that all of the monsters were going to be from Earth, that they were supposed to be from Earth. But King Ghidorah is actually an alien, and he was not affected by the oxygen destroyer at all, and that does make sense because he shouldn't have to have oxygen to breathe since he is from space. So yeah, let's talk about Mothra. Mothra was pretty strong in this movie. If you've seen it, you know. And I do like that they made the adult version of Mothra able to use the web. Because, as you know, in the other movies, the adult version has never been able to use the web. And that's the reason I'm really glad that it could in this movie, because I've always wanted it to be able to use it, and I've never really seen why it couldn't. It should still be able to use it. But Mothra is also very powerful in this movie, and one thing that makes her so powerful is her claws, and her claws are very strong. And in the final battle, she almost kills Rodan with it. I don't really know how she didn't kill Rodan, because it looked like she stabbed him in the heart, but I guess she actually stabbed him in the shoulder. But yeah, he fell off a building. Of course, he was still alive at the bottom. But yeah, Mothra is also very powerful in this movie. Oh, actually, in that scene, it was the stinger that stabbed Rodan, not the claw. So, now that we're on the subject of Rodan, let's talk about him a little bit. Rodan, I know all the kaiju are very powerful in this movie, but I mean, Rodan is more powerful than he's ever been before. He's extremely fast. I know he could already go fast, but I think this is the fastest he ever been able to go. And he is definitely supposed to be evil in this movie, at least at the start. Because he's chasing all the jets, he's eating the jets, he's destroying them all. Even the guy that ejected out of the seat, like, he ate that guy. I know that was in a trailer, but it was a lot different experience in the theater. I also want to mention that this movie was very intense. I mean, it was really intense. There was never really a part where you weren't captivated by what was happening in the movie. And that's another thing too. I think Rotten Tomatoes critics don't know what they're talking about. I know I said this in the last video, but it needs to be said again. The Rotten Tomatoes critics think that this movie has too much action and not enough dialogue. So first of all, what's strange about this is that they actually also said that, I think they said, I know people said it more than they did, but they might have said it too, that Godzilla King of Monsters, Godzilla 2014 didn't have enough monster action and had too much character development. But then they said that this movie didn't have enough character development. And that doesn't make sense to me because I still felt like this movie had a lot of character development. Although it wasn't so much character development that it just made them, that like it made the monsters not have enough scenes. Because the monsters definitely had enough scenes. They had a lot of scenes, and I love that. Cause I've wanted for a long time for there to be an American Godzilla movie with a lot of action in it. Because the ones we've gotten before, I mean, even the 1998 movie, it did not have much monster scenes in it. And we already know Godzilla 2014 didn't have much. Of course, when you think about it, though, Godzilla 2014 didn't have much Muto scenes, and it didn't have much Godzilla scenes. But, you know, when you put the individual Muto scenes and the Godzilla scenes and, like, add the times up, it actually, I mean, it does add up to a little while, but still, I mean, it's not really enough screen time. This, on the other hand, all the monsters had a lot of screen time, except for the ones, they were the new monsters. Oh, by the way, you know, like, the Mutos still exist. Because in the movie, I think it showed a Muto twice. Like, once in the middle of the movie, not really the middle, but like, sort of close to the middle of the movie where all of the kaiju were escaping, it showed a Muto on the camera, and then at the very end of the movie, it also showed the Muto again. So the Mutos are still a thing. They just weren't the main focus of this movie. But yeah, there is a lot more kaiju than we thought. Of course, I mean, he did say 17 and counting, and I'm pretty sure this movie had 17 kaiju. I didn't count them. But anyway, so yeah, most of the theories were wrong about this movie. Most of them were completely wrong. Not all of them, though. The theories about, and this was also one of my theories, but I mean, some other people had the theory too, that Rodan and King Ghidorah would have an alliance, and Godzilla and Mothra would have an alliance. And that did happen. My only problem is that Godzilla and Rodan never fought. I don't remember them fighting. I'm pretty sure they never fought each other. And I mean, I know that like Mothra and Rodan were supposed to be the two like main enemies, and then Godzilla and King Ghidorah. But I mean, Mothra and King Ghidorah fought for a second until Mothra got completely destroyed, but we won't talk about that yet. I mean, we just did, but I want to get to the Ghidorah part first. So yeah, Rodan was very powerful. Anyway, so now let's move on to King Ghidorah, who is definitely the most powerful in the movie besides for burning Godzilla. So King Ghidorah, where do we begin with him? I mean, I guess we should begin where he broke out of the ice. This actually leads to something else I want to talk about. So, the mom in this movie, Emma, she seemed a little bit like Thanos to me. And I mean, once I explain this, you'll probably understand too, if you don't already. But like, she seems like the way to make the earth. She seems like she thinks the way to make the earth better is by either everyone dying or most people dying. Because she was talking about like, the humans basically they messed up the earth, and now we need to release all the kaiju to destroy all the cities and kill everybody so the earth doesn't have as much pollution. And I mean, if you think about it, that really does kind of seem like Thanos, because Thanos wanted to kill half the population. I think it was either half the population in the universe or half the population on every planet. But either one, it was supposed to help with like the resources, but it was not an okay way of doing it, and that's what she did. But eventually, by the end of the movie, I mean, she did realize that was wrong. I guess I'm pretty sure she did. Yeah, she did. And yeah, so back to Ghidorah. So Ghidorah was definitely the most powerful monster in the movie, except for Burning Godzilla. And the first time we see King Ghidorah, really, when he broke out of the ice, and he was killing everybody, and Godzilla comes up out of the ice, and they played that theme. That was an amazing moment, because they have never played the Godzilla theme in one of the American movies, and I mean they may have had it in one form or another, but if they did, it wasn't really recognizable. In this movie, it was definitely recognizable. They they sort of made their own version, but I mean it stayed really close to the original one. But yeah, I thought it was really cool that they included the original theme in this. And King Ghidorah he actually got one of the abilities from Kaiser Ghidorah, where he can suck the energy out of other monsters to get power for himself. That is pretty cool. Also, his heads can grow back, and that actually leads into the post-credit scene. So, I don't know if you saw the post-credit scene or not. If you haven't, don't listen to this part. You can skip it, or you can leave, or do whatever you want. But in the post-credit scene, they had recovered the first head that Godzilla bit off in the ocean. And what I think this leads to, now this theory may sound far-fetched, but I don't think it really is that far-fetched. I think they could use the head to make Mecha King Ghidorah. Now, I don't know if this is a very big possibility, but I think it is, and I kind of want to see this. I really actually want to see this battle. Like the legendary Godzilla versus Mecha King Ghidorah. And I mean, it could be, and it would be good if it was from that group, like, trying to, I think they were trying to release the Titans. Yeah. It's kind of hard to tell what they were doing. I couldn't tell if they wanted to kill the Titans or if they wanted to release the Titans and kill all the people. But I think they may make a Mecha King Ghidorah, and maybe what can be happening is like they're using the Mecha King Ghidorah to get control of the Titans and use it to try to destroy the people. And then, like, Godzilla comes and maybe he takes back control of the Titans and they all fight Mecha King Ghidorah. I think that would be a very good plot. I think that'd be a very good idea. But again, I don't know if it'll happen because I don't really know if there will be a Godzilla movie after 2020. But the way all the reviews are looking right now and how many people have seen this movie, I mean, how many people have seen it already? There's already been a lot of people seeing this movie. But yeah, I think that they may continue it after 2020. Or, like, get another deal with Toho. But, yeah, so I thought this I guess we're going to conclude it now because there's really nothing else to talk about. Oh wait, yeah, Burning Godzilla. This is at the end of the movie, and I know you've probably all seen it, like at the end of the movie. A lot of people knew there was a post-credit scene, but anyway, Burning Godzilla was amazing, and like Mothra actually, when she died in King Ghidorah, like when she tried to fight King Ghidorah and died, I think she died on purpose because all of her energy went to Godzilla after she died, and then that gave him the power of burning. Well, the power of burning Godzilla was already inside him because he had all that radiation, and they were talking about him going thermonuclear, like he was going to explode, but he wasn't really going to explode. He was going to turn into Burning Godzilla, and she just gave him that jump start of energy to turn into Burning Godzilla. And when he did, he was really powerful. The nuclear pulse, I love that attack, and I'm glad that was in this movie because it was really cool. And I actually did want Burning Godzilla to use the atomic breath because that would have been an amazing atomic breath. But the nuclear pulse was really good too. He melted everything when he walked by it. And that's what Burning Godzilla should do. I think he was actually doing that in the original movie with Burning Godzilla, and I don't mean 1954. I mean the original Burning Godzilla movie. But like, it just wasn't very visible because there wasn't very many close-up shots of him. But yeah, in this one he melted everything. And he even melted King Ghidorah. Like the nuclear pulse, it literally melted King Ghidorah. And at the end, when he was like, it looked like he was eating the head. I thought he was gonna eat it like spaghetti, like he was gonna suck it up like spaghetti, but he didn't. He just used the breath and it exploded it. But yeah, I've already talked about the post-credit scene, so I really don't think there's actually anything else to talk about. Oh, by the way, I actually didn't notice this, but someone else pointed out to me that the outpost that Godzilla was at. I need to make sure this when I go see it again, but like. The outpost that Godzilla was at was actually Outpost 54, which, is like 1954. And I also like that they brought the Hollow Earth thing into this from Kong Skull Island, and he was going around in the underwater tunnels, and that's how he got places so fast. I like that too. But anyway, I don't really think there's anything else to talk about, so I guess I'll conclude the review now. So, I thought this movie was very good. It definitely had a good amount of action in it. Oh, one more thing at the end of the movie, by the way, is it definitely lived up to its name at the end with the with all the monsters bowing down to Godzilla. So Godzilla was the king of the monsters, and like King Ghidorah, they called him like a false king, like he was like an imposter. That's pretty cool. But anyway, so I guess we'll conclude it now after a while of saying that like 3 other times. So, as I said, I loved how much action this movie had. That's what we've needed in an American Godzilla movie. That's what the Japanese ones have had, but the American ones haven't had it. And that is definitely what I liked most about this movie. And all of the action scenes were good. All of the monster fights were good. But yeah, that's going to be all, and now I'll give my rating. So I will say, how I gave Shin Godzilla like a 9 out of 10? And it was my favorite Godzilla movie, and I say was because this is not my favorite Godzilla movie. I loved this movie. So with that, I rated it a 10 out of 10. That's just my opinion. I don't know what you rate it, but I rate it a 10 out of 10. So, that's going to be all for this video, and I'll see you all next time.